I am quickly outgrowing the number of ports on any one device in my workspace. I have a personal laptop, a work laptop, a Mac Studio that sits on my desk, and I am building a home lab of Lenovo PCs, and that's 4 different set of devices that needs to connect to the same 2 Dell monitors, a Brio webcam, a keyboard, and a mouse. Each time I want to change workflow, it feels like I just need to rewire my entire setup, and that's friction. Enters the dock. If your setup is built around USB-C, you have multiple monitors, accessories, a camera, then you'll probably run out of ports eventually. At this point, you should start thinking about adding a dock. A dock is the center of gravity of your desk. Everything plugs into it, and there's one cable that plugs onto your laptop. At that point, you can switch between different computers without ever having to unplug. So I picked up 2 different docks that we'll compare today. One is the Ugreen Thunderbolt 4 dock, and the other one is the Amazon Basics Thunderbolt 4 dock. Same category, different philosophies. Before we start talking ports, I want to say I'm not interested in the max throughput. My original motivation for buying these devices was to reduce the amount of friction I have when working between my personal laptop and my work laptop. What it ships in is your typical Amazon box, brown with your Amazon smile on it, but it is about what's on the inside. So on the inside, you'll get a metal slab. For the device itself, you'll get a power cable and a Thunderbolt 4. This is all metal all the way around except for these ridges on the side here, which feel like silicone. I hope that gets shown right. A little bit plasticky on the side, but then the top and bottom and everything else is metal. On the back, take a closer look. You have your HDMI port, you have Ethernet, you have Thunderbolt, and then you have some USB-A ports. And then on the front, you have one more Thunderbolt, USB-A, and an audio jack, and a power, and a micro SD. This device honestly is really well built. It feels like Amazon figured out what the needs were and just stopped right there. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. The competition has something to say about that as well. So let's take a look at what the Ugreen offers. Look at this box, okay? First off, the design. You pick this up, you feel like you got your money's worth. It's a little more expensive at $170 compared to the $135. For that money, you get a better build. You get the same Thunderbolt 4 ports, and then you also get a power cable in the box. Looking at the build of the device, compared to the Amazon Basics, this is metal all around. So you have some USB-A's on the front, clean setup here, and on the back you have 4 Thunderbolt 4, Ethernet, and power. All metal build. If you've ever held a Mac Mini or a MacBook, this is kind of what this feels like in hand. This device feels like it's better thought out. The upstream Thunderbolt cable, the one that plugs into your monitor on the back, is a very nice design choice. I'll get more into that in the comparison. Let's put these 2 devices up side by side and see what situations they're thriving. Starting with the Amazon Basics. The SD card is on the front, audio jack, and the upstream Thunderbolt connection, which plugs into your laptop, is also on the front. This entire setup here is ideal for creators. So if you're plugging in or your storage from your photography shoot or your videography shoot, and you quickly want to start uploading photos, having this on the front makes it easy to access. On top of being able to switch between different devices, you have the upstream connection that goes into your laptop also on the front, and so you're plugging in and going, and you also have your audio jack, which is also great again for that content creation or a very mobile workflow. Highly recommend the Amazon Basics one for this, especially at this price point. It's $135, so you're saving a decent amount for the same functionality being routed on the front versus the back. On the other hand, you have the Ugreen, which doesn't have any of the SD card setups. Personally, I don't use that. I use SSDs. So I usually plug in all my hard drives via USB-C. So I value more having an extra port on the back. So this one has 4 instead of the 3 on the Amazon Basics. And this for me kind of points to the future of the devices and what I'm looking to have in my workflow. USB-C cable, everything. That has some ups and downs, but for the most part, I love being able to use and reuse cables. And so this one will future-proof me. Is best set up for a workflow where you're setting up your devices and plugging it and not changing anything. And so having the upstream that goes into my desktop on the back also creates a lot of space on my desk, because with having it on the front, you kind of see the cable taking up space and constantly moving around it to work. While if you're being mobile, that's okay. For me personally, I want this on the back where I don't mind reaching around and plugging it onto a new computer, but I prefer having that desk space. And so that's the side-by-side comparison. The Amazon Basics is ideal for creators who are on the go, or you just found the price point attractive and you don't care about having a Thunderbolt 4 on the back. Plus the SD card slot is a no-brainer. Again, I personally don't use this, but I could see how this is useful. And it also ships with the HDMI on the back. That's also a great option if you have need for that. And for me personally, I'm not using SD card slot, I'm not using the HDMI, so I prefer to have 4 Thunderbolts. And again, if there's one with even 5, I would have loved that, but this is the one I found at the price point I thought was worth it. And then you have 3 USBs in the front. You can never go wrong with some USB-A ports. That's been around the longest, so you will always find support for it. And that's my side-by-side comparison between these 2 devices. I think I'll be keeping the U green. But that's it for now. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Peace.